All right, welcome back to the Mclain boys. I'm here with Big Bad Joe. We're getting ready to break apart an engine on a Suzuki 400 LTZ. It's a bad boy. When we're done with it, it'll be even badder. So, backstory on this thing is we picked this up as a flip. It's got a cracked case. Chain came off, bound up against the case, broke it right above the shifter rod. So we've got a new case coming in now. The goal for today, we're going to tear this thing apart, make sure everything else looks good. It was running, shouldn't be any problems. We're going to find out if there's any other parts we need. We're going to get them on order. This is the process of how we're going to do it. Alright, so this is the machine here. Suzuki LTZ400. Powerful quads. Can be fixed up. Really get some power out of them. This has got the engine that's been modified. Person that had this before us put the 440 big bore kit in it. It's got hot cams. Had a little bit of love done to it. Unfortunately, what we're running into, they were out giving this thing some hell one day, and the chain bound up, which is kind of a common thing with these bikes, bound up, you can see right down there above the shifter rod, and it snapped the case. Didn't do any damage to the engine that we know of, at least we're hoping not. But that case has got to be replaced. So we've got another one on the way. These cases can be a little difficult to find, especially in good shape, since it's a common issue. The left side has a tendency to be broke on these things. They do make an aftermarket part that's a guard that we're going to get. You can put in there, and it's supposed to prevent that chain from binding up against the case and breaking it in the future. Now, these engines share the same block with the KFX 400 and DVX 400. So if you have a hard time locating one for the LTZ 400, you should be able to get one of those and make it work.
So to get this engine off, it's fairly simple. So first you have to take the exhaust pipe off. You can leave the muffler on, you just have to disconnect it right here from the actual pipe to the muffler. And then you're gonna have to take all the miscellaneous intake hoses, the spark plug, all the wires, the radiator hoses. And then we need to take the rear swing arm nut and bolt off, and then take the front mounting bolts off. And there's also some little oil reservoir lines right here that go to the oil reservoir that connect to the engine that you have to take off, and then you should be ready to pull it.
Yep. So these two brackets right here, there's one on each side. They're fairly simple. And then your oil reservoir lines here, they go into the engine. The swing arm, the reason you're taking the swing arm bolt off, it actually goes through the frame, through the swing arm, and then right in the center there you see it goes through the back of the block. So that's actually the mounting for the block there. So we remove that swing arm bolt, that'll break the back of the engine free. And then at that point, Big Bad Joe is going to grab this thing with one hand and just rip it out of there.
Yep.
All right, here we go. All right, so we took a pause here to show you a few things. Big Bad Joe came over to this side of the engine. He's like, you know what? I want to fast track this thing. We got all these wires and cables and everything going everywhere. I don't care. We're just going to rip this sucker out right with them. I'm like, no, calm down. You can't do that, Big Bad Joe. It's going to make extra work for us. We got to be smart about this. So, we're going to pause here, show you what you got to take off on the side of this thing. Sensor right down here, 2 Allen bolts. Back that off, sensor will come right out. That does not have to come out for the engine to come out. If you see these plugs right here, these go inside the frame, meet up, plug in here. Now, through our process of breaking this down, we're still going to have to pull that sensor out. So, you can decide if you want to pull that out now, let it hang with the frame, or do like we did, just unplug everything. We'll yank this thing out, take it off as we need. Next, you've got your clutch cable. Routes down, comes on up, hooks here. So, there's 2 bolts right here. See them? They hold that bracket. When you remove those 2 bolts, that cable will be free. You can actually pull it back. If you notice, there's a notch inside that clutch lever. So once you have the slack in this cable, all you're going to do is push this cable around through this slot. Turn it around so that it's pointing out this way. And then the cable where this slot is will actually slide straight up through that hole and come out. Okay, don't cut the cable. You're going to be screwed. Then we've got your starter wires that we got to take off here, and your ground. That should free it up from that point. Carburetor up here is attached up to the throttle. We're just going to pull that off, lay it to the side. There's no need to fool with that right now. Other than that, pretty straightforward here, I think. I don't think there's anything else we need to show you, at least right now. We're working on right now, we're going to get this swing arm bolt off. Finish taking these other brackets off, and then we can get this thing out of here. The exhaust, there's not enough room without taking the fan off, and maybe even then to slide it out right now. But we do have it broke loose. It's just kind of laying off to the side. We'll pull the engine out this way. Shouldn't interfere with anything. All right, here we go again. All right, we got her out. A few things we ran into here in addition to those brackets down here that we originally told you about. There's 2 other brackets. 1 bolt goes straight through the center, similar to the pivot bolt back here where the swing arm is. So, swing arm bolt, lower middle engine than the brackets at the front. Then on top of the engine sits this bracket. It connects in right there. This bracket sits between the frame right here. Take this bracket out, and that will allow you the room that you need to wiggle that case free and pull it out. All right, Big Bad Joe and I are about to break this thing down. I'm looking at it, and I don't feel too good about it. How do you feel there, Big Bad Joe?
The exhaust looks really nice.
Yeah. So, if you look inside here, I don't know how well it'll show up, but there's a lot of buildup inside that thing. Does not look pretty. Hopefully it just needs cleaning, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out that she may need another rebuild. Here's the problem that we've got. Now, this has 2 halves here that make up the center case of this engine. Right side, left side. Left side is where the shifter comes out, okay? I'll turn this over here, give you a better view. Right here is where your chain sprocket goes. Okay, so what happens is that chain breaks, binds up in here against the shift lever, and it pops the shift lever down, and as it does that, it breaks that case out. I don't know how well you can see it there, but That case is, well, it's a goner. Seen better days, and it's not coming back from this one. So, what we're going to do now is tear this thing apart. I do have a new case coming in. My hope was to be able to reuse the internals. We might still be okay. Maybe we just slap a new set of bearings, some new rings in, we're good to go. That is worrying me though. What you think? You can't hear Big Bad Joe, but he's nodding his head aggressively. His brain is kind of rattling around like a BB in there right now. Maybe it'll show up on the camera. He's a little preoccupied right now too. Yeah. All right, here we go. Okay, so we're debating whether or not to do this time-lapsed or walk you through it. Basically, your camshafts here and here, intake, marked in, exhaust, marked exhaust. Same thing on your gears here, I for intake, E for exhaust. Your chain, you're going to drop these two bolts here. We're going to take that off. We're going to take these caps off here. Take the tension off of the chain. We'll pull the camshafts out. That chain goes down through. It's hard to see there. I don't know if you can. But it goes basically all the way down into the crankcase down here. And it's got marks on everything. We're not going to worry about setting anything right now. When we go back together, it's got timing marks, and we'll go through that in detail as we do it, how to do it. So I think right now what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and time lapse us breaking this apart. And you just understand that you're not going to pull this chain out right now. All you're going to do is pull the camshafts out, you'll pull the head up, the chain's just going to slip back down through here. And then, yeah, when we do the assembly, we'll be more detailed for you. Okay, so we finally got her apart. Overall, everything looks pretty good in here. All the gears look good. Don't notice any damage on any of them. They're pretty clean. What I am seeing, piston doesn't look bad. I might just put a set of rings on for the heck of it. But as far as the cylinder and the piston, I'm not seeing any real signs of scoring. They look good. Everything feels fairly tight. I think what we'll do, we are noticing this is the crankshaft main bearing. We're noticing it's kind of sticking up. So I think some stuff's got inside there. It could be from either us taking it apart right now, or it could be from who knows what. But I think we'll definitely replace both of the crank bearings and that little balancer bearing right there, I think we'll replace too. Other than that, everything looks pretty good. Oh, the shift rod is bent, which makes sense. It got slapped pretty hard with that chain, hard enough that it broke the case. And you can see the case again there now. It's real easy to see how it's broke. So I've got the new case coming. I'll order a new shift rod, some bearings. I don't know if I'll do an engine kit on this or not. Really doesn't look bad in here. But I might do some rings. And we'll go from there. Everything else looks pretty good. Just some good cleanup and get it rolling here. So yeah, overall, I don't think it's real bad. How about you?
Nope, it looks pretty good other than those bearings sticking.
Yep. And the bent shift rod.
And the bent shift rod.
Yep. So, we're going to order some parts. We're going to clean this up. And we're going to do a much better video showing you how to assemble this thing. A lot more detail involved in assembling. And if we do it right, we're not going to have any more problems in the future. And that's the goal here. We're going to clean this up. We're going to make it a badass bike again. Turn around, sell it, put some green in our pockets.